Hey guys, hopefully everyone is doing well. Today's target is to solve question number 8.16. The chapter which we are related with is spoilage and defective goods. And as we have taken introduction and we have solved few illustrations regarding spoilage and defective. So I'm very hopeful that you remember the performa, you remember the journal entries and how to calculate amounts of journal entries. It should be in your mind. But if you are not mentally prepared right now, I'm requesting you to please look the lectures which have already been delivered and present and you have the reach of those lectures as well. So it is requested to please look at those lectures first, introductory lectures, and then come back and see it. Right now, as our topic is spoilage and defective, but this is our first question and we are specifically related with defective production only. We have understood the difference of spoiled and defective. Under spoiled good, there are few matters which should be in your mind. Spoiled goods means a damage which is unrepairable. This is the first word which you should have in your mind, the damage which is unrepairable and would be sold as B pair. So this is the first thing which you will keep it in your mind. A spoiled loss is a kind of loss which is not repairable, and ultimately you will sell such goods which are damaged as spoiled goods, you will sell them as B pair. The second type of loss is little different, which is defective goods. And as you know, we have understood defective goods, again damaged goods, but repairable in a way that can be sold as A pair. So this is the difference which you should have in your mind. A pair. So what conclusion you will make? Defective loss is not a severe sort of loss. There would be minor damages which can be repaired easily, or such loss can be rectified easily. So that is why you will be able to sell those damaged goods. Even after having some damage, you can sell them as A pair. Right now we are associated with defective production only, and spoiled goods would not be discussed. So therefore you will have to keep in your mind that we would have in our question some of the manufactured units are damaged. We will repair them, we will apply our repair process upon those damaged goods, and ultimately they will be included in finished goods. They will be included as A pairs. Let's start our question. Since there was a blurry picture, so what I have done, I have edited it. Whatever is written behind it is little bit unreadable. So instead of that, what I have done, I have written that particular statement again. You can see that here everything is written but little blurry, and for me it is readable, order of 1200 units. So instead of that, I have written that statement, order of 1200 units over here. Spelling order of units again, there is a mistake. Order of 1200 units of its product initially incurred following costs. So production of this order has direct material cost 144,000 per unit, and we have direct labor cost 33,600, 33 lakh 3,36,000 per unit. Okay, there is something misprinted again. I haven't taken attention. This cannot be per unit. Rupees 144,000 and 336,000. So mind it, it's not per unit. It's by mistake has been written. So what we will do, we are going to remove this. Sometimes it happens, though this book is being published for several years, and what my experience is, mistakes are never removed from here. Okay guys, so we should understand it. Direct material cost has 144,000. Direct labor cost is 336,000, and factory overhead is applied to the production as 25% of direct labor cost. 200 defective goods have following cost. 200 defective goods following additional cost were incurred. Please do understand, for 200 defective goods following additional costs were incurred. 20 per unit, yes, this is okay. 20 per unit, 80 per unit, and FH would be applied in the similar way. To complete, the completed order was shipped to the customer at contracted price 625, though it is not related with our basic concept, because we are not uh, actually we are not related with the sale entries, but we will do it. Right now we will be focusing upon rework or defective production. For that we have performa over here. At left side you will be making 3 journal entries, on right side you will be making 3 journal entries. Concept is very simple. There are two ways. Again, a little bit misprinting is present over here. A part is given and B part is missed. Answers are also missed in the question. Book was not published in a proper way, therefore B part has been missed. But anyhow, it's a matter of practicing our question. So we will follow our entries, we will follow our formulas, we will follow our journal entries without looking what is theoretically missed in the question. The first entry which we will be doing is to start our process, or simply you can call it work is started. When you will start your work, what will happen? You will use your material. It means material present at your store would be decreased. Secondly, your labor would also be used, and some factory overheads would be used. In this way, when you will use your material, labor and FH, what will happen? Your work in process would be started. By using material, your work in process material would be started, and when you will be using labor, work in process labor will be started, and when FH would be used, work in process FH would be started. So I'm sure you have understood it, that when you will use your material, labor, FH, what will happen? Your work would be started. It's very simple to understand this entry, though we have already taken introduction. Then we will be doing defective material entry. So we will call it rework on defective goods. And since what is happening, I have already explained. Let's say you were making a pair of shoes. These were newly produced unit, and suddenly those shoes were dropped on the floor, and that was the only damage. What you have done, you have polished them. That means you used material. Who will do the polish? Labor unit. And at that time, fan was on and electricity was used. In this way, a little bit material, little bit labor, and little bit factory overhead was used and made it back to the A pair. Simple example is this: just shoes were dropped on the floor. It was not a severe damage, so minor repair with the help of material, labor and FH, you have made that slightly damaged pair of shoe as A pair again. So what you have done, you have again used 1, 2, 3. That means you have again used some material and some labor and some FH, with which what you have done, you started again your rework, but entry would be same. Work in process material was started. Okay, the brackets are important. So work in process material was started with the help of material. This is rework, not original work in process. Then you have used labor again. So work in process with labor. Labor spellings are not okay. So work in process labor, and here 2 is not present. That is Excel is playing with me. And thirdly, you will use your factory overhead. So what you will get, work in process FH. So in this way you will complete your entry. Now you will be asking a question, when you have done first entry, that was same, and when you have done second entry, narrations are different but entry is same. How? As you have seen that when you will use your material labor FH, what will happen? Your work would be started. In the similar way, when you will rework, what I have said, shoes were dropped. Obviously, you will use your material, that means polish. And who will make polish? Those labor workers. And at that time, electricity was used. It means factory overhead was also being considered as an expense. So material labor FH was again used. Shoes were manufactured. It was a finished product, but suddenly dropped. It means shoes were already finalized. So then you have a rework upon those shoes to make them a pair. Entry is same, but the first entry is for total number of units, and second entry is only for those number of units which were defectively damaged. Now finally, what third entry you will do, it would be about making your finished goods. And here you will come, when your finished goods would be ready, it is your asset. So finished goods due to asset would be written on debit side, and ultimately your work in process regarding material would be ended, and work in process regarding labor would be ended, and work in process regarding your factory overhead is ended. When you have started your work in process, it was debit. As your finished goods are completed, your work in process has been ended. It means they will be posted now on credit side. When it has been started, it was a favorable thing, so you have debited it. When it has been ended, you will convert into credit side. Okay, so guys, over here our entries completed, and we are now supposed to do their amounts. So please understand, first 1200 units are produced, initially incurred the following cost. Let us confirm whether per unit has been written or not. The factory incurred the following cost. Look at here, these are the costs. So it cannot be per unit cost. I mean, can you have an idea? 1,44,000 per hour is unimaginable. While we are doing embroidery products, well, it means we are making some garments, so garment cannot be having per unit cost this much. So there is misprinting. So guys, we are over here and we are going to make our first entry. Direct material cost, total cost is given 1,44,000. So you will directly put this amount over here, 1,44,000. So go back and see how much labor cost is, 3,36,000. So here you will put 3,36,000. Now next is factory overhead. And read over here, factory overhead is applied to production at 25% of labor cost. So we already have this 3,36,000 labor cost. To calculate amount of FH, we will simply take percentage, and how much percentage is mentioned above. Let's see. Actually, system is little slow. 25% of direct labor cost. Okay, so here what you will do, 3,36,000 was the amount, and you need to multiply it with 25 divided by 100. This way you will calculate 25% of 3,36,000. Statement is completed. We can now put it on calculator. Multiply by 25 divided by 100. So this way you have calculated your FH. For credit amounts, as you know, in accounting, simple accounting principle would be applied. Debit and credit would always be equal. Whatever amount is present on debit side would be returned same amount in credit side as well. So for material, we will put 144,000. For labor, we will put 3,36,000, 84,000 for FH, and this way your first entry has been completed. Now we'll go back to the question and see. For 200 defective, it has been mentioned that 200 units are defective. Following additional cost has been incurred. How many number of units? 200. So this is direct material per unit, direct labor per unit, and FOH will be calculated according to this statement, 25% of labor cost. So we are here to put amounts on second entry. And here, how will you calculate work in process material over here? Simple is this, defective units. I was hoping there was a space over here, but no. Per unit cost of material would be multiplied. So we'll have to make little more space over here. Okay. Then how many units were defective? It was mentioned in the question that units defective are 200. So similarly, we will be putting over here 200 units, and per unit cost of material is also mentioned, that was 20. Look over here, 20 per unit cost of material. So you will be putting that amount 20 cost of material. Now we will create a little more space so that our calculation should be visible. Okay, in this way you have calculated work in process material statement, and now you can calculate as well. 200 were defective goods, 20 was the cost of material, per unit cost of material. Now you will be calculating work in process labor. Again you will use defective units, and it would be multiplied small l per unit cost of labor, and for that, as you know, 200 were defective goods, and you will be multiplying it with per unit cost of labor. Direct material cost 20 and labor cost is 80 per unit. So for labor you will be putting 80. In this way statement of labor is also completed. Now we can calculate 200 multiply by 80. Have you observed that cost of material is less than that of cost of labor? So sometimes we have labor intensive industry. What word I have used? Labor intensive industry, where more labor is required for less number of units of material. Labor workers are required more than that of material. So that is why cost of labor is high and cost of material is low. And sometimes it happens, there are several countries present in this world where there is shortage of labor workers. So what will happen? They will charge more. Material is little cheaper as compared to the labor workers. So labor will charge amount more than that of amount which you will spend on material. Finally, we will now be able to calculate our work in process. For that, we will use the same statement which we have initially used. Factory overhead is applied at production 25% of labor cost. So simply we will be applying that 25% upon here. Your total labor cost you have calculated is 16,000, and we will directly be putting 16,000, and we will take 25% multiply by 25 and divide by 100. In this way, amount of FOH would be calculated. Statement is completed. We are now open to put the amount 16,000 multiply by 25 divided by 100. So amount of FH is also calculated, and the next step is simple. You will be writing same amounts on credit side by applying simple accounting principle. Debit and credit would always be equal. So 4,000 would be for material, 16,000 for labor, and 4,000 for FH. Okay, so third and final entry, finished goods. Its narration is also cost of finished goods. In this way, you have completed your journal entries, but now amount is required to be put in this entry. Keep in your mind that finished goods would not be calculated by any formula. So we will wait for amount of finished goods. And for work in process material, work in process labor, there are two options. You can directly calculate, or indirectly you will make the ledger. Like over here, work in process material, you will be making its ledger, and since it was used to make ledgers of any of the previous questions, we are removing it. Okay, at this place, first option I am letting you know, you will make ledger, and this ledger would be used to calculate amounts of work in process material. Now here there is a problem. We should have a T account over here, and we have taken so much space at above. Okay, so instead of making ledgers over there, we can, since for ledger we should have 4 columns, and we have taken enough space over here. So I will let you know how to make these ledgers in another page. And no, maybe this space can be used to make ledger. Let me see if we have space. Alright guys, this space would be used for making ledgers. Let's talk about, actually I was willing to make a comprehensive ledger, and unfortunately we don't have the space over here. So I will let you know the second option first, then we will see how to make the ledgers as well. Okay, see, work in process material is present on debit side in first entry. This is option number 2. Option number 1 is to make ledger. Work in process material is present on debit side, and in second entry work in process material is also present on debit side. So both amounts are present on debit side, same sign. Like in mathematics, what we do, if sign is plus and other sign is also plus, what we do, add. And when we have sign minus and other sign is also minus, so minus minus would be plus. If signs are opposite, minus plus minus, plus minus minus, so when signs are same, we will always be adding the amount. Here you can see work in process material is present on debit side, and second work in process material is also present on debit side. So both are on the same side, it means they will be added. So here you can make it over here. First amount was 144,000, and then second amount was 4,000. So you will add both amounts to calculate work in process material. This is option number 1. So here statement was completed. Now we will put it on our calculator. 144,000, add 4,000. In this way you will calculate first amount. Method is similar for remaining two entries as well. What you will do, work in process labor 336,000 present on debit side, and work in process labor in second entry is also present on debit side. Again signs are same, plus plus plus, minus minus again plus, so both are present on same side. Debit 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 means plus. To calculate work in process labor of third entry, what you will do, you will be writing both amount 336 first debit, and then you will add second amount which is 16,000. So in this way you have calculated or made the statement for second amount. Statement completed. Now let's put it on our calculator. 336,000 and add 16,000. In this way our second amount has also been calculated. For work in process FOH we will be applying the same methodology. Work in process FOH in first entry is on debit side. Work in process FOH on second entry also on debit side. Same amount, same side is for work in process FOH as well. Same sign mean plus plus plus, minus minus plus. When there are same signs, we do add. In similar way we will add these two amounts. Work in process FOH first amount is written over here, which is 84,000, and second amount is work in process FOH 4,000. In this way you have completed your statement, and now you can calculate its amount by putting first amount was 84,000, and then you will add your second amount which is 4,000. So all three amounts have been calculated. So as I was telling you that amount of finished goods would be calculated later on by applying simple accounting principle. Amount of debit would always be equal to amount present on credit side. There are three amounts present on credit side. So what you will do, you will add these three amounts and will write over here, in which what will happen, debit and credit side would become equal. So what you will do, 148,000, and you will add 352,000. One thing I like to share, when somebody will be looking at this lecture and he knows Excel, he will be laughing that why we are manually calculating even upon Excel. So since you will not be provided Excel sheet in your papers, you will not be allowed to use systems, computers, laptops, you will not be allowed to use any programmable calculators. So you will have to do the same manual calculations on your calculator. Otherwise, it is so simple. I will give a simple uh, a command to Excel, and Excel will automatically calculate these amounts. So plus third amount is 88,000. So in this way your total amount of finished goods has also been arrived. So your left side has been completed, and in this way your ledgers are also without making ledger you have completed it, but I am desperate to make ledgers. For this I will have to change this phenomena, and with which what will happen, our journal entries would be disturbed. I have used so much space over here with which our ledger portion has been disturbed. Alright guys, we have here the space, and please pay your attention. I am making ledgers over here, little awkward to go away, but it's a good space now to make our ledgers. For ledger we do have one debit side, second credit side. Here I have managed to make our debit side. In the similar way you will be making this ledger on your copies. Okay guys, so our ledger is ready. Here you will write particulars. then you will write amount, and here again particulars and amount would be written over here. In this way, two sides have been mentioned, and this is performa of your ledger. So these are two sides, and we will use it, to make our ledger. Okay, so here we will go to this side, and kindly keep it in your mind there are only two entries. Now let me explain you. Our entries have been completed 1 2 3. Original method is to make ledger to calculate this amount 148,000. And second option, I have told you there is direct method. Work in process material was debit, again debit, debit, debit. You will add. So you have added first two amounts to calculate work in process material. This is indirect method, though it is not allowed. You will have to make ledgers. This is your first question. Kindly keep it in mind. You will not be able to get full marks if you are not making ledgers. Over here, first part ledgers I am making, and you will have to keep your attention over here. There are only two entries. This is your first entry and you are making ledger for work in process material. So come over here and we will be giving its heading that it is work in process material ledger. And we will see if material, work in process material is present on debit side, we will put amount on debit side. If work in process material is present on credit side, we will put amount on credit side. So first amount, work in process material is written on debit side 144,000. So come over here and write down on debit side how much amount, 144,000. Okay, now go again and see where else work in process material is present. Look at here, the first amount was present on debit side and we have put on debit side. Second amount work in process material is present over here 4,000, and this amount would also be put on debit side. Upon here you will write the reference, and what reference you will use, obviously you will see what is written on the opposite side. Look at here, work in process material was put on debit side and to material is written on opposite side. So this would be used for the reference. So here you will use to material as your reference. In next entry you can see that again work in process material was debit and opposite side 4,000 was written. So you will come over here and same reference would be used over here to material. So this way there were only two entries and we have completed their ledger. At this stage you are required to make balance. How you will make balance? Please remind yourself previous semester where we do make our ledgers and we do calculate balances. So how you will calculate the balance? First you will take the total of both sides. So here there are two amounts. We have 144,000. First total we are making 144,000 and then 4,000. Total of debit side is 148,000. Total of credit side is 0. As you can see, there is nothing present on credit side. Then second step is to choose larger sum. Hopefully you remember larger sum is 148,000, as on credit side it's only 0. So what you will do, larger sum would be put on total of both sides. Here you have written on debit side, and same balance would be written on credit side as well. First step is completed. Then you will choose your smaller side was credit, and here you will calculate the balance. And how you will calculate this balance? By subtracting smaller sum from the larger sum. Larger sum was 148,000, and you will subtract your smaller sum, which was 0. In this way you will calculate your balance, and this balance is needed to be posted on third entry. Our balance is 148,000, and you can see over here we have already posted 148,000. So these are two options to make ledger, and then calculated amount would be put over here. In the similar way, please note it down carefully. You have made work in process material ledger. In the similar way, you will make ledger for work in process labor, and then you will make ledger for work in process FH as well. And then you will write down the balance upon here. So for the time being, we are not making ledgers. It's your responsibility to make other two ledger. 100% same work in process material ledger as we have completed. In similar way, you will complete work in process labor ledger and then work in process FH ledger. So first part has been completed, and for second part there is good news for you. And what is that? Heading has been removed. I don't know how, but we'll have to do it again. Journal entries for defective goods. Okay guys, what is the good news for you? First entry for defective goods would absolutely be same for second portion. Why we are doing the second portion? Heading is in front of you, and look at over here, when loss is not charged to the production and when loss is charged to the production. And now you will ask where it has been written. That's what I was sharing with you, that B part of this question has been misprinted and not present in the book. So ultimately you will have to understand it was a misprinting, and there will never be a question which will not have second part. You will always be having loss not charged to the production and loss charged to the production. And please understand, first entry would be similar, and let's go to the third entry as well. And again, good news, this third entry is also similar, but with the difference of amount. You won't be writing the amount over here, and upon here these amounts would be changed. So right now we are removing them, and second amount would also be removed. For third amount would also be removed. Now keep it in mind, first entry absolutely same, second entry same but not the amounts, and amount would be written later on. So what will happen for the second entry? Heading you should have to understand, otherwise it would be a matter of confusion. First part is loss not charged to the production, please note it down, and second is loss charged to the production. When there is loss charged to the production, what you will introduce a new name, a new element, a new factor, which is factory overhead. Entry is simple. You will replace this work in process material labor FH, remove it, and in place of these three factors, work in process material labor FH, you are going to introduce a single word, and that is factory overhead. And again you will be happy that credit side and narration would be absolutely similar. Okay, system is slow and I am not feeling good with it. Okay guys, please do understand what we have done. First entry absolutely similar. similar. Third entry is similar but not the amount. For second entry, you have replaced debit side with one word, factory overhead. So, okay, and there is another surprise for you. These amounts would not be changed and same amounts would be put on credit side as well. So for factory overhead, we will apply simple accounting principle in which what we do, debit and credit side would always be equal. So on credit side, there are three amounts, 4,000, 16,000 and 4,000 again. So we'll sum up all three amounts and their sum would be written on debit side just to make debit and credit side equalized. In this way, your second entry has been completed. Now again, I am repeating the same thing. How easy this second part is. It means in exam or in your question, you are basically be attentive to make your left side or first part attentively. Otherwise, for second part, what you are going to do? Just cheating. First entry would be written same, last entry would be written same except amounts. For second entry, credit side is absolutely same, amounts are same. Just you will add these amount and introduce new word factory overhead to replace these three elements on debit side. You will sum up all amounts on credit side and will write total amount in front of factory overhead. It's time to calculate your amounts for third entry and still it's simple. You can see that there is only one entry which have work in process material. There is only one entry. In first part there were two entries having work in process material. In second part there is only one entry of work in process material, though you are needed to make ledgers again. So we have made work in process material ledger for first part, and that part was not charged. Okay, and here you will be making same ledger, I mean same pattern of ledger for second portion as well. Three ledgers would be made for first part and three ledgers would be made for second part as well, and I am making only one ledger. For remaining questions, I will make other ledgers as well, but right now only two ledgers because I have to arrange the lines. Okay, this ledger would be made for second part where loss is charged to the production. So you will put this heading over here as well, and you will change it when loss is charged to the production. Here not charged and charged. Now I'm reminding you again. You will be making three ledgers over here: work in process material ledger, then work, work in process labor ledger, and then you will be making your third ledger as well, and that is work in process FH. I'm very sure that I've repeated these things for so many times. So kindly keep it in your mind that you will make three ledgers: work in process material, labor, and FH, and their balances would be written over here. And second indirect option, I have told you, without making ledgers you can make, but in exam you are compelled, you are insisted to make ledgers, without which you will not be able to get good marks. In the similar way, you will be making all these three ledgers which you have made for first part. In same way you will be making ledgers on other part as well. And right now, since lines were disturbed, so I have made one ledger of not charged and one ledger for charged. Right now we will be completing it. This was your old calculation. For second part, I was telling you that we don't have work in process more than once. So it means first option what we have used, work in process material debit, work in process material debit, both debit. So we have added the amount of work in process material and written over here, as you can see over here, without making ledger. But here we don't have amounts present, and if amounts are not present, the only one amount is written on debit side. So here what you will do, since there is only one amount of work in process material, you will be writing the same amount 144,000 over here, and then second amount is 336,000 over here, and then third amount 84,000 over here, and finally to you will write down your finished goods amount. And how you will write it? By adding these three amounts. I will let you know if I was taking help from Excel. So it was so simple for me to put formula of sum and just selecting the amount, I was able to calculate the sum. That is what I was saying. From Excel, it is so easy to use it, and automatically Excel will help you to calculate. But since Excel would not be given to you, laptops would not be available, programmable calculators would not be available, so you will have to calculate everything manually. So option number one, there was only one work in process on debit side, and that is why you do not need to add anything, you do not need to subtract something. You will directly write the same amount over here. But no, you are not going in this way. We will make ledger of work in process material for second portion as well. Here you can see that work in process material in first entry is present on debit side, 144,000. For ledger, you will use the same place, 144,000. And what reference was written? You can see at opposite side, 2 material is present. So you will write 2 material over here. Okay, now in second entry, work in process material is absent. It's not present. That means it's all about ledger is completed. All postings are completed. Now we will calculate the balance. There is only one entry present over here. First step is to calculate total of both sides. Total of debit side is 140,000. Total of credit side is 0. Nothing is mentioned, and there was only one amount present on debit side. Now you will choose the smaller side, which is credit. There you will calculate the balance by subtracting smaller sum from the larger sum. Your larger sum is 144,000, and you will subtract your smaller sum, which is 0, and this way you have calculated your balance. And now this balance was supposed to be put over here, which we have already written. So both methods I have clarified, that direct method and by making ledgers. And this is, I think, more than 10th times I'm telling you that this ledger is compulsory. At end of your journal entry, you will be making 3 ledgers, and I have demonstrated work in process material ledger, then work in process labor ledger, then work in process FY ledger. Balances of these ledgers would be put over here, and then some of these 3 amounts would be put at finished goods. In the similar way, you will be making these 3 ledgers in second portion as well, work in process material, labor, and FH. Balances of these 3 ledgers would be put in last entry over here. Some of these 3 amounts, which are actually the answers of ledgers, would be put over here. So in this way, your question would be completed. I am requesting you, humbly requesting you, to please repeat it for more than one time. It may be 2-3 times. Just repeat it. Make your journal entries 100% clear to you. And after that, so here we have, I've just zoomed off so that you can understand the volume of this question. Okay, now see, 3 entries are present on left side, 3 entries are present on right side, and 3 ledgers on left side, 3 ledgers on right side. This is total volume of your question for defective goes 3 journal entries, 3 ledgers, 3 journal entries, 3 ledgers. First portion for not charged to the production, second for charged to the productions. So in this way, our first question has been completed and you are required to write down it, you are required to practice it, you are required to solve these journal entries at least for 3 to 4 times so that you can have a very solid space in your brain for this question. 8.16 is completed. Time has been ended for this question, but again I am at the same place. If you are not able to understand even the tiniest point, you are very welcome, very open to ask your question through messages, text, or you can directly meet to solve your problems. I will surely be available instantly to answer those questions, inshallah. For the time being, our lecture time is ended. 8.16 is ended. We surely be meeting for solution of any other question in future. Up till then, please take care of yourself. And I'm requesting you to please pray for me as well. Thank you very much for your time. It's time to say goodbye. Allah Hafiz.